When board games give us more, we're rolling with more. Hi, I am Will, and with me as always is the person who thinks meeples are magic.
Well, they are. Oh,
just like friendship.
Yes. Sarah.
And today we're looking at a review of My Little Pony, Adventures in Equestria, Princess Pageantry.
Nope, you missed the deck building game.
Okay, My Little Pony.
Deck building game. No.
Okay, let's just do this. My Little Pony, Adventures in Equestria, Deck Building Game, Princess Pageantry Expansion. Yeah. Sarah, tell us a bit about this really, really long named game expansion.
Right. In this expansion, Celestia, Luna, Cadence, and Shining Armor join the roster of playable characters. These characters bring new mechanics and abilities befitting of their royal status to the game, along with new locations and challenges to overcome. All right, let's go over what's new and how it changes the base game. There is Princess Power now. Princess Celestia and Luna have tokens that power different choices on their character card. Princess Cadence and Shining Armor have extra starting cards that work on each other's turns. Festivals. Will, you want to give us the rundown on how festivals work?
So festivals get set up right next to the hurdles. And at the end, when you actually finish the first hurdle, the first festival will start. It'll have 3 tokens on it, as well as requirements in order to get those tokens. It'll be traits like star, moon, and mountain. And there usually are 2 icons, and you have to discard cards with those icons from your hand. One of them has to be an ally.
Yes.
But one of them could be an ally that has both.
Right.
Traits. Then you get the token, and anyone in the party can actually use the token. Now, after the second hurdle is accomplished, a second festival starts, even if the first one's not done. They'll just be both acting at the same time. Mm-hmm. And if the third hurdle gets finished and you move on to the final challenge, any present tokens that are still on festivals will add clouds to the final challenge.
Yeah, so it definitely increases the challenge of the game. All right, there are also new locations, including Canterlot Castle is the new starting location, and that one's really interesting. There's more of every other card type. We kind of noticed that some of them seem a tad bit more punishing. There seem to be more gain clouds if it's discarded from the adventure row kind of thing.
Yeah, no, those don't trigger if you buy the card.
Right. Okay, 2-player experience. Nothing significant changed with this expansion, I don't think.
No,
Didn't really feel like
I mean, it felt like there was more to do, but I think we have enough experience under our belt that we could handle it.
Yeah.
Now, we still haven't really tackled it with setbacks.
Yeah.
We probably should do that.
We should probably do that next time. Accessibility. So this was an interesting thing that we found out, that there are cards that require you to do outside activities to gain in-game benefits, such as singing or stomping or laughing. And yes, there's 3 in this expansion, but there evidently are some in the rest of the stuff. At least there's one base game one.
Yeah, we're dropping the fat beats.
Yeah, we just, I guess, somehow, well, I wouldn't say somehow, in a 2-player experience, you're really not going to go through many of the cards.
Right.
So as much as we've been playing with a lot of the cards, we don't see all that many different ones. So if this is something you've encountered or not, social anxiety might be an accessibility issue.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have actually thought of it because the little activities that you do aren't all that much. However, it became an issue when we were playing it because you got the card and you were feeling the social anxiety.
So I got the wrapping one, which was from the base game, and the Do-Re-Mi. The Do-Re-Mi is easier because I love musical theater, and that was easy enough to sing. Rapping,
Well, it's dropping the fat beats.
Yes, I felt a lot of social anxiety, even though it was just me and Will.
Yeah.
I felt embarrassed that I couldn't do it very well, even though I know Will isn't gonna berate me for not being able to do
I am also not on social media, so I'm not oversharing anything.
Yeah, I don't know. It did give me a bit of, I guess you would call, performance anxiety of just, I felt unable to like I'm having trouble talking right now.
Yeah.
I just felt unable to do it well. And then it's like, well, if you don't feel comfortable doing it, then you're going to lose out on a benefit if the players you're playing with are stricklers for the rules on you have to do the thing to get the benefit. So you might want to talk about it ahead of time before playing with your group, in that if someone is uncomfortable doing something, maybe find out if there's something else that they do feel comfortable doing that actually would bring fun and joy and laughter to the game. So maybe they can't rap. Maybe they can whistle or snap or do something else that is a thing that is not so anxiety inducing.
Yeah. In other words, you don't want to blindside players.
Yeah. And again, I kind of wish we had come across this before. We would have talked about it in our previous videos. But this was the first time where we got 2 of the cards and I got both of them somehow.
You just got musically inclined.
I had a musical theater over here.
Yeah.
So anyways, other than that, this expansion is going to have the same issues that everything else has happened, which is the icons can get obscured in the art on the left-hand side. This is their graphic design at this point. I don't think they're going to change. It's just going to be the way it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get to our ratings, let's talk about what we like and what we don't like. So when we played, you played Princess Celestia?
Yes.
And then I played Cadence.
The big honcho lady.
Yeah. Cadence and Shining Armor really should be played together. I just felt like yes, I had an extra card in my deck, because it didn't say not to use that card if you're not playing with Shining Armor. But again, it's like a lot of other cards in this game that call out for a specific pony when they're not being played. It feels bad and it feels weaker. It feels like you're not getting the full effect.
Yeah, it feels like you're playing with a handicap.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yeah. So just something to keep in mind, that if you are going to play Princess Cadence, someone should probably play Shining Armor or just leave both in the box.
Yeah. And for me, I was playing with Princess Celestia, and she has this new token mechanism. So does Luna, where they have their own tokens, where if you would gain a token, you can instead gain one of hers. And that's going to be the currency you use, that when you use the character ability, you'll choose one of the payment options and go with that. I really found that to be extremely powerful, that I had the right ability whenever I needed it, provided I spent the time gaining the princess power.
Plus, it really felt like in this expansion there were a lot more ways to flip your character card back over. There was the Canter lot.
Yeah, which is basically a starter card.
But I believe there were a couple of actual cards that you could play that let people flip your character cards back over.
Yeah, they were expensive, but it allowed you to do that.
Plus, I think all the characters in this expansion automatically flip over after you finish each hurdle.
Yes.
So it just really felt like there was a lot of opportunity, which you capitalized on, in keeping your character card face up. I don't think I ever even used my actual character ability.
You might have used it once.
And I'm blanking on what it actually did.
I think you were a little bit focused on the fact that you couldn't use the Shining Armor bonus.
I feel like it had a cost in it of a cube to do something.
Yeah, it was just hard to justify.
It was just, anytime you have to pay a cube to do something, it's hard to justify doing that.
Yeah.
So, that's it. Festivals are interesting, but they do just kind of feel like a evolved hurdle.
Yeah, they're expanding upon the hurdle.
I also don't feel like for the investment of you have to discard an ally. And I don't know what happened with us, but it felt like we never had an ally with the right icon. So we were discarding cards that had the collection of icons we needed and an ally to get the token. And none of the tokens were that amazing.
Well, we made them work.
We made them work.
But it could be things like, oh, here's 3 movement when you use it.
Yeah. Here's 2 mountains.
Yeah, I think one was a specific color sugar cube.
Right. So there are a variety of ones, but it just sometimes felt like the cost wasn't equal to the benefit. And the other thing we got stuck with is both of our festivals needed mountains. It's like
double mountains.
Yeah, double mountains. One card was like all mountain abilities. I'm like, they should have mixed it up a bit. I mean, I guess I can see on some hand, if you have a lot of mountains, that's great. But we weren't getting cards. That's the other thing, is with 2 players, you're not moving that card row very quickly. And so if cards do not come up with the icons you need you can't gain tokens to give you these. I mean, you can gain gift tokens to give you mountains, but the normal tokens don't help you at all with the festivals.
Right.
So it was a bit frustrating at that aspect.
Still won, though.
Still won, but it's
pretty
just
easily, too.
Yeah. It's just because the unclaimed gifts put clouds on, it does put pressure on.
Yeah. Of course, like one of my powers was, I think it was the most expensive. I could just remove like 3 clouds from the final challenge.
Did.
Which I did because
we kept getting
I didn't
clouds.
want to get punished by the gifts.
Yep. Yeah. So that's why it feels like a evolved hurdle, because there's some negativities to it.
Yeah.
I think in general, because this is the 3rd expansion, so it's not this expansion specifically, but just the fact that there are 3 expansions, we're running out of room. There's like a little bit of space in certain wells, but like the tall wells are completely up at the top. I don't think another expansion will fit. And they've talked about like there might be a big box coming, but they like just did one for one of their other deck builders, so it might still be like another year. So I hate to say this, but we might have to get rid of the insert, which is a nice insert. So I just kind of wish they had future-proofed it a little bit more, or slowed down the frequency of their expansions, or sped up having a big box. It's just a little fatigue, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. It was also weird that they didn't cover an ability or a rule that was introduced in the last expansion called Refashion, which had no component necessary. It was simply you could spend book resources to discard cards that aren't setbacks, then slide any cards that aren't setbacks forward, and then refill -1 based on whatever you spent.
Yeah.
It was a very clever rule that was not even mentioned.
Yeah, but then again, I still feel that should have been in the base game, and I still feel that that should be in any game that you play with, because it's so beneficial, especially at a 2-player count. But yeah, it is kind of surprising considering they do repeat rules, because they go over like Discover and those types of the Adventure Row call-outs, because those are repeating mechanisms that are in the game. And they didn't include Refashion, so
if you didn't have the last expansion, you don't know about it.
Yeah, unless you're watching this video, and then you know about it. And
now you're angry.
And now you're angry you don't have it. No, but it's really easy to use. I think hopefully they posted the rule book, I don't know, for the last expansion, which would be True Talents? No. I have forgotten already which one was the previous one.
It might be True Talents.
I think it's True Talents. Yeah, that was the one with the cutie mark, Crusaders.
Yes, I think so.
Because the first one was something else.
What was the first one? I don't know.
Okay, let's move on to how it rolled for us.
All right, so the base game, you gave it a 6, I gave it a 5, and actually I think that's what it stood for in the last 2 expansions that we reviewed.
The expansions haven't majorly changed anything. Also, being at a 6, I can't go any higher.
Yeah. So, does Princess Pageantry change for you?
I think it almost does. Like, I almost feel like I want to roll it down to a 5. And I think it's just because there's the one issue I have with this game is the focus on specificity. And there are a lot of cards in this expansion that call out for very specific player ponies. There's a whole group of them that are allies that call out the base game ponies, and if you don't buy those, they add clouds when they get discarded. And again, I feel like if I'm buying a card, I want to be able to utilize all the abilities, and those cards were kind of expensive. So buying a card just to prevent getting clouds, but then not being able to get all the benefit, it's just still something I don't like. And so there's a lot of cards, and then there's cards in here that call out for the new ponies and stuff too. So I feel like they increased the amount of specificity of the call-outs, and that kind of bums me out. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's quite enough. So I'm going to stay at a 6, but I say it's kind of a low 6 for me on this one.
Okay. For me, it did go to a 4.
Okay.
Burnout and Dilution.
Yes.
And you pretty much nailed it. They've been coming out quick and fast with expansion after expansion after expansion. And with every expansion, it gets diluted. There's no way to even guess what card is going to have a special bonus for a named pony, but they're in there, and now it's completely up in the air whether or not you come even close. You'd be even close that if it's for a specific Cutie Mark Crusader, that you'll even have a Cutie Mark Crusader.
Yeah.
Much less a beginning Friendship is Magic friend.
Right.
So that is very, very detracting from... It feels like, well, if you were playing with real friends, maybe you'd have fun. But you're just a loner, and it just doesn't feel like it meshes well with the experience.
It feels like you kind of have to choose an expansion or the base game as your core of the deck to even be able to have fun, which kind of negates, to me, kind of some of the point of having expansions is to have new things mixed in. But if you want to have a chance at the core working, you kind of have to pick one of these to be your core and then filter in with some other cards. It feels like.
Now, of course, I wish the Discord's one of the playable characters.
Yes.
And I wish his ability was like, oh, well, you can flip his card and basically mimic any pony name. And then, bam, you got the benefit.
That would have been cute.
Because he does the shape-shifting a lot.
Yep.
But 10 out of 12, it's still a very good expansion.
Right.
I just am
think
really
we're
feeling...
disappointed.
Yeah, I'm feeling the burnout, and I'm probably not seeing enough change from expansion to expansion. Because this one does do a few new things. But it feels like it's kind of putting the pressure on more than the enjoyment of playing in the world.
Right. So who this is for, this is a more complex expansion. I mean, not like a lot, but it's enough that it ups the difficulty. So this is really only going to be for your die-hard My Little Pony Adventures in Equestria Deck-Building Game fanatics.
Excellent.
Thank you. I can't believe I got
that.
I got to that. This is definitely not your first expansion to get. If you have the base game and you're trying to figure out which one to buy first, this is not the one to buy first. The difficulty is just probably going to be a bit too much, and you're not going to necessarily enjoy it all.
Yeah.
But if you like the characters that are in here, and you like some of what, we've been talking about, then I think you probably will enjoy it enough to get it. Just maybe not rush out to get it.
I would still go with the first two expansions first. In fact, I would choose the second expansion first, then the first expansion, then the third expansion.
Agreed. Actually, if you're looking for an order, I'm pretty sure it's True Talents. Familiar Faces, that's what the first one. So the first one's called Familiar Faces, and then this one is Princess Pageantry. So that would be the order.
Yep.
All right.
All right, that'll do it for us. And Sarah, since you are not the dropper of the fat beats.
No, I'm not.
What would you recommend people do instead of dropping them beats?
Well, if you want to go with karaoke, I mean, like if you want to focus on singing, maybe if you've got a karaoke machine or some sort of app or something, you can pick your favorite song and sing it.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, that's it for us, and we've been Rolling with More. And remember, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out to us on the various social media platforms at
Rolling with Two. That's TWO. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And on YouTube, please like and subscribe.
And if you have time, check out the other content Nanaman has found for you, because remember, he's rolling with you.